Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome to the latest glorious politically incorrect episode of Sports Frenzy 2.0. To my right, my brother from another mother, the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, the conquistador Dave Height.
And to my left, the conductor of this crazy train, the maestro, Kevin Crane.
There you go, kids. You are who you are. We are the guys who should be running every major sports franchise, but since we can't do that, we'll just talk about doing it instead each and every Thursday morning here for you. On Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, and even on Facebook. How'd you like that for a curveball, my man?
Lovely, but you screwed up. It's iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
This is what we do to each other. We fuck with each other every week.
You gotta find that one spot.
You sneak it in. That's what friends do.
That's what she said.
95% loyalty, love, caring, compassion, 5%. I'm gonna fuck you up the ass, bitch! Now, I will probably be fading in and out this entire session because I am still fighting some sort of ick, which started the night of the Night Ranger concert last Saturday, which, by the way, will be our featured review.
Saturday morning with your hangover cure, your politically incorrect pop culture commentary, like only we can do.
Now, of course, as we tape Wednesday night here, December the 11th, we do have breaking news, but
that will have to wait.
We start off, as always, Dave, with what?
The NFL, because it's all about the football.
So that means we go back to last week, NFL Week 14, last Thursday night, December the 5th. Massive, important NFC North showdown between the Packers and the Lions.
Could be a playoff preview, because right now it's looking like the NFC North, with the exception of the Bears, who suck so badly,
and we will devote as little time as possible to that train wreck this week.
That's right. No, the rest of the NFC North sitting with double-digit wins, looking like they're going to be in. The Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings.
And we'll discuss those three teams. Obviously, here we're discussing Packers-Lions. We'll get to the Vikings in a moment, and all deservedly so. Very, very playoff worthy, unlike our piece of shit team in Chicago, among any other piece of shit teams in Chicago, because they're all piece of shit teams in Chicago.
They all suck.
Now, what do you take away from the Lions beating the Packers 34-31 at Ford Field? Do you look at this as a positive for the Lions? Do you look at this as a positive for the Packers?
I would almost think you have to look at it as a positive for the Packers, because they kept it close. They stifled the Lions' run game. And Jordan Love did not do anything stupid. Now, granted, they didn't have him throw consistently. They were able to run the ball against Detroit. So that's a scary team in Green Bay right now, if they can play that efficient.
And then, of course, we have the big game of the week coming up, and our picks will be the Bills now coming into Ford Field to play the Lions. Yeah, this worried me. I have been down on the Packers all year, not just because I'm a Bears fan, but Jordan Love seems to be making the bad decision at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it wasn't for Josh Jacobs, this team would be in trouble.
They would be overall. Jacobs has been the factor.
He's been one of the top 5 most consistent running backs in the league. And you do have a great head coach in Matt LaFleur. Not taking anything away from him, obviously.
What was it? You've got right there in that division 3 head coaches who could get votes for Coach of the Year.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yep. then on the flip side, when you're on top of the mountain, whether you're the Kansas City Chiefs, we'll get to them in a few minutes, or you're the Detroit Lions, who we're discussing now, arguably the top of the AFC, the top of the NFC. I mean, they are
Yep.
record-wise, but some would say maybe there's a team behind them that's better. Both teams are getting criticized for the same thing. You're winning games that are too close. Every game you play comes down to the wire. Every game you play comes down to a last-second field goal or a last-minute touchdown. At some point, you've got to dominate, and Bears fans, obviously,
know how to be dominated.
Jesus, could you be positive? I was going to say we look back at the 85 team, and that's what everybody aspires to be. Everybody
The
wants
shutdown defense.
every week you destroy your opponent, except for Miami.
Because there's always going to be that one game.
Yep. You can't keep playing the high wire act. You
No.
can't keep
At some
flirting
point,
with disaster, as the great Molly Hatchet song says.
Yep. At some point, this is going to catch up with both of these teams. With Detroit and with Kansas City.
Now, will it be enough to knock them off the number one seed?
Probably not. But playing that way, is the bye a good thing for them in the playoffs? That's what you worry about.
And you can even drop down in the NFC, at least, to the number 2 seed. The Eagles with the same thing. Eagles are on a long winning streak. But they almost...
They had a challenge. They almost blew that $3.1 million bet for some idiot.
Yep, against the Panthers.
Yeah. Ugh.
And now Panthers, of course, are favored for the first time in, 2 years?
Something like that. They have not been playing bad, but we'll get to them.
Yep.
So, Lions still should be able to take care of business, but they're getting a little scary.
Now, did we ever decide, you and I are not old, but we're getting older, and we can never remember what we used to call back in the old cable access days. Was it the train wreck game of the week, the shit game of the week? Put a bag over your head and just do her game. I don't know what you call it.
No, dumpster fire, train wreck.
Yeah. And we got 2 of them coming up for you this week, kids. Not 1, but 2. But last week's game was the Jaguars at the Titans, and it did indeed live up to its name, whatever that infamous name might be.
Yeah,
and somehow
awful.
Mac Jones leads the Jaguars over the Titans 10-6. 10-6.
Ugh.
And of course that screwed most of us, except for Sam. Sam somehow
decided to go with the Jaguars.
Sees the
and
greatness.
Aaron.
Aaron got it. Yeah, Aaron had another great week.
Yeah.
So now we got to worry about him all of a sudden jetting up from the bottom in the picks rankings. But it's like, oh my God.
Seriously, come on.
Nobody wants the number 1 pick, except maybe the Raiders. The Raiders are the only ones who seems like they understand how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, but they'll screw it up somehow, too.
Then we get to the Vikings. Vikings and the Falcons in a pivotal game in the NFC. First half was competitive.
Yeah, first half you were like, all right, this is a game. This is fun to watch. And then the second half hit, and once again, bad Kirk Cousins shows up.
This is not good for him.
No.
This is now a full month in crunch time leading into the playoffs. What is he? 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in the last month?
Yeah, because he had 2 more against the Vikings.
You can't do this. You remember what happened at the draft, Kirk? Where They drafted Michael Penix.
There was a reason. And gee,
You just don't get to play the Buccaneers every week. Because I know 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions against my Buccaneers. But against the rest of the league, oh boy, you suck. You stink, buddy.
Very, very bad.
And I have always tried to root for Kirk Cousins. Because by all accounts,
great guy.
Great teammate.
Great leader. We wanted him for Chicago for how long?
You and I back in
when
the
he was
early
first
days,
drafted.
Yes,
in Washington.
We understood exactly what Mike Shanahan did when the owner forced him to draft Robert Griffin III. And then he said, all right, I'll show you, bitch. And he came right back around and drafted Cousins later on in the same draft. And who ended up having the better career?
Cousins by far.
Not even close. Not even close.
No, not even in the same zip code.
I can't believe Kirk Cousins is shot. I can't believe he's done.
Maybe he needed more time to come back from this Achilles.
There's people in New York saying the same thing about Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
You get past a certain point in your mid-30s, you need longer recovery time. So, it'll be interesting to see when Raheem Morris, who, by the way, one of these second-time around coaches where it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's
is what I'm
not
thinking.
looking good. He is a coordinator.
He deserved a second shot, but it's not working out very well.
No, it is not.
So how long will it take before they pull the trigger and bring Penix in, trying to salvage the season? Because now the Buccaneers have leapfrogged them and have now taken over sole possession of first place in the NFC South.
Yeah.
As I said, they would, because the Bucs are awesome.
And Cousins is so bad, and they've already played their 2 games.
Don't worry, I will show you that I am unbiased when we get to our picks for this week. Don't call me a Bucs homer. Don't call me a Bears homer, God.
Oh, hell no.
You spit in my face and call me Judy. What the hell, man? Game that shocked me, and again shows me maybe Kyler Murray does not have the intestinal fortitude to be a top-level NFL quarterback. I thought for sure at home the Cardinals would step up. They have not used Marvin Harrison Jr. as well the entire year as they should have, considering where he was drafted.
Yep, and I have not been, from what I've seen of him, have been completely impressed with his work ethic on the field. He's dropped a lot of passes that he should have had.
Seahawks impress me, continue to impress me, as the Seahawks go into Arizona, into Glendale, and win 30-18 to retain control of the NFC West. Now, the interesting thing is, you've got all those stud receivers that we keep hearing about year after year. Tyler Lockett,
DJ Metcalf,
and Jackson and Jigma Smith, or whatever his... I'm sorry. If he's not on my fantasy radar, I don't care. But who won the game for them this week? Zach Charbonnet, the backup running back.
With your second time having him on your team.
Yes, and
You had him and dumped him. I had him on an emergency basis and then dumped him.
And I went back to him this week.
And you had to because you needed to.
Yeah. And he almost won me the game this week. No fault of his whatsoever. But if you look at the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith is barely averaging 1 touchdown pass a game.
Which is sad with that receiving core.
That's what I'm saying.
Has.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it's really screwy.
That Seattle team needs to run the ball.
That's what they're good at.
And God help me for being a terrible, awful human being. I hope Kenneth Walker is out again this week so I can plug Zach in after what he did last week. And he might actually fantasy football aside, might actually be the better of the two.
He's looking like it. When he gets to play, he has been so much better.
Yeah. So Seattle still in charge of the NFC West. But here come the LA Rams.
Yep, they are on a late season mission right now, trying to catch Seattle and maybe try and eke out one of those wild card spots.
Yes, here outside the Sports Frenzy studios in the upper Midwest, we were subjected to the Bears getting destroyed by the San Francisco 49ers.
A depleted San Francisco 49ers.
38-13, and it wasn't even that close.
No. God, it was bad.
Bears extend their losing streak to 7 games. Let me just tell you this, kids, and then we move on. We get back to the game that matters, the Bills and the Rams. Dave and I both checked out in this game before the end of the second quarter because the yardage disparity was pathetic in the first half. The Bears were outgained by San Francisco 319-4. Let that sink in.
4 yards. Primarily because the offensive line couldn't protect Caleb Williams once again. Sack, sack, sack.
2025 cannot get here soon enough for the Chicago Bears. And they will not win another game this year. Will not. No way. Who are they beating? Who are they? They're not beating Seattle.
They're not beating their divisional opponents.
Right. So they're done.
They're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, the pinball game. Pinball wizard game. And I'll admit, most of us got this wrong. We thought the Bills coming in on a hot streak, and it was not Josh Allen's fault, believe me.
No, he played his ass off.
Yes.
He was freaking Superman in this game.
I have been Barkley this year in fantasy football. I have been chased, I have been burrowed, and now I've been joshed. Yes, I had to go up against Josh Allen. And I heard, I'm like, he ran for 3, he threw for 3. I'm like, oh, fuck me now. Can you please give me a break? Can you please?
Yeah, he had a pretty good game. But that Bills defense was abysmal.
They could not stop Puka Nacua.
No coverage at all on him.
So the Rams win at SoFi Stadium 44-42. And that hurts because of the result from the Sunday night game, where somehow, again, the Chiefs figure out a way to win a close game again. Despite the fact Dave and I have said week after week.
Last second field goal.
The Chargers need more help.
The Chargers let them off the fucking hook again.
Just like every other team this year has. The Chargers need more help. They didn't have Ladd McConkey. Justin Herbert got the shit kicked out of him the whole game. But the Chiefs win 19-17.
Yeah. It's so frustrating.
So that basically gives the Chiefs an extra game to play with in terms of the lead for the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yep. And then how many So how many ways can the Cowboys screw up?
Yep, the Monday night game, December the 9th.
They're as inept as the Bears.
They could have beat the Bengals. They could have. And they screwed me in fantasy football again. Because if that idiot hadn't botched the block punt and touched it, which went for a fumble recovery for the Bengals, I would have won. But I'm not bitter.
But no, not at all.
No. And yes, the Cowboys find a way to cowboy themselves Now the better team won. The Bengals are the better team.
Absolutely. But again, they struggled a little bit.
I would have expected, yeah, but I've been expecting this all year out of the Bengals, is for them to finally get going and finally start beating teams by more than a touchdown or letting up 40 points on defense.
They are just not consistent in any phase.
And I really wonder, are they going to keep Zach Taylor? But
it's
you're
a pattern.
dealing with it's the same.
It's a cheap franchise.
Just like the Bears.
Just like the Bears.
They do the same things the Bears do. They've had a better history of quarterbacks than the Bears. I'll give them that.
Yes, they have.
Technically, they've had a better history of drafting than the Bears. But when it comes to the second contract, when it comes to bringing in a top-level coach, they always cheap out.
Yep, they won't do it.
And they still, kids, remember, have not given Jamar Chase an extension yet. That'll be coming this offseason. But this is the type of team.
Do they give it to Chase? Do they give it to Higgins?
They will not give it to both, even though everybody's talking big about, oh, we're going to keep T around. Well, T sucked. Another reason why I lost. T. Higgins was a piece of shit Monday night. And CeeDee Lamb didn't show up in the second half. I have so many people to blame, other than Mrs. C and myself, for my loss. By .08! Yes, kids, .08. It's the first time I've gotten to vent on this, by the way.
Not that he's bitter or anything.
No, that's the thing. The only people I have to blame are the people on the field.
Who don't show up.
Jesus, and again, if it wasn't for Zach Charbonnet, I wouldn't have even been in it. If it wasn't for Justin Jefferson, I wouldn't have even been in it. So I tend to look at the positive.
Yeah, if I would have gotten anything out of T.J. Hawkinson, because Darnold doesn't throw to him.
Don't you have Kyle Pitts too?
Yeah, and
he's worse.
He's worse.
He's worse.
He's worse. So there you go. Ugh.
All right. Other news and notes from the past week in the NFL. Of course, we were just talking about the Monday night game between the Bengals and the Cowboys. Very disturbing news that Joe Burrow, the latest NFL superstar to have his house burglarized while he was playing
out of town.
Yes.
It's not only NFL, it's NBA and NHL as well. There's a ring going around hitting these top stars.
Yeah, we're not joking about it, but
it's pretty sad.
I would like to put everybody's mind at ease. Joe Burrow's Batmobile was not stolen. And did you hear who happened to call in the burglary?
Yeah, his fiance.
Oh, no, I'm not hearing that. No,
that wasn't his fiance.
It was an employee. It was an employee, supposedly. An employee.
I thought it was...
No, nobody has used that word. I have never heard fiance. But she just happens to be a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Now, maybe I'm getting bad information, and it happens because
maybe I jumped to conclusions.
You can't believe everything on the internet, kids. Believe me, I know. I get burned all the time trusting, quote-unquote,
reliable sources.
Thank you. Dave's doing his best to prop me up here, so.
It happens.
Give him kudos and credit. A couple significant injuries. Derek Carr, go figure, injured once again. Somehow the Saints, that game should have been, along with the Titans-Jaguars, that Giants-Saints game.
Dumpster fire of the week.
Oh, my God. Derek Carr got a concussion and fractured his non-throwing hand on the same play.
Yeah, that was ugly the way he came down.
So he is considered week to week. Since the hand fracture is on his non-throwing hand, he conceivably could come back and play, but we're dealing with concussion protocol.
Yep. Who knows on that?
And then the really sad one is Carolina running back Jonathan Brooks, who just came back rehabbing from a torn ACL in his right knee. Has just been back in the 53-man lineup. Of course, Chuba Hubbard is the starting running back.
Yep.
But Jonathan Brooks was supposed to be initially his backup and then eventually work his way in to maybe be 1B to Chuba Hubbard's 1A. Jonathan Brooks retore the ACL in his right knee.
Ouch. What was it? Dallas's defensive player tore all 3 major ligaments in his knee.
Yep.
Ouch.
It's the game. It is the game. Buccaneers go to 7-6. As I mentioned, take over sole possession of first place in the NFC South, but they have to deal without their all-pro safety Antoine Winfield Jr., who will be out a couple weeks with a knee sprain.
Yep. My Dolphins coming from behind to beat the Jets in overtime. Arguably Aaron Rodgers' best game this season.
Feisty Jets team.
Yes. But again, the Jets found a way to lose it.
Yep, 32-26 in overtime. Dolphins go to 6-7, still alive.
Yep, they're playing a little better. I don't like that it came down to that for them to beat the Jets. Should have been more handily, but
now
we'll take what we can get.
We don't get to see the Dolphins a lot here.
I just got to see the overtime drive.
Right. But judging by what I can hear from other sources, from what I can see from the box scores and the game flow, game cast, this the Dolphins team is schizophrenic.
Tell me about it.
Now that you get Tua back, and you've got A-Chain, and you've got Hill, and you've got Waddle, now the defense looks suspect. Whereas the defense was keeping you afloat earlier this season when Tua got knocked out.
Yeah, they were trying to keep it close, but now they're just fading away. Frustrating.
Then finally, before we move on to our picks for Week 15, we knew it was coming. It's kind of like Bobby Knight said, bend over and enjoy it if it's going to happen. If it's inevitable, just deal with it. 2025 NFL regular season game in Berlin, Germany, has been confirmed. And that right there, that Bobby Knight quote, might be what separates us from everybody else. Is that I don't care.
We'll still quote Bob
That
Knight.
quote sums up life. And snowflakes go, no, that's about rape. We get raped every fucking day. By the government, by somebody overcharging you at the supermarket. You can't use that word though. Just like hate. I'll use it all the goddamn time. And if you don't like it, kiss my ass. Take receipts on me. I don't care.
Boom.
So Dave, let us start off with our games for this week, our picks from our expert panel. 7 of our 8 panelists with their picks in.
Yep, we start off with Thursday night. As you're listening to this in the morning, it hits the night. Big NFC West showdown. The Rams go to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers.
49ers lose this, they are out. They will drop to 6-8. Rams lose this, they start to lose sight of the division lead with the Seahawks. Very tough game to call. The
This was
49ers
really
could be
tough.
down to their fourth string running back. Now,
Yeah.
some people will say it doesn't matter. Kyle Shanahan can make anybody work in that system. They've gone through McCaffrey, Mason, Garendo. Now they could be looking at Taylor.
Yeah, it's frightening.
But at some point, the production has got to drop off. And then you have to expect Kittle to be a star, Jennings to be a star, Samuel to be a star.
Oh, but Debo's not happy.
Whatever. And then we've got the deleted tweets and whatever.
Yeah.
Juwan Jennings, David, notice Juwan Jennings is the best goddamn receiver on that team.
Yeah, because Samuel can't run a route well. When he is thrown to, he has trouble holding on to the ball. So, gee, Debo, maybe you need to look in the mirror.
Yeah, and I got news for you. He's gone. He's gone.
Oh, yeah.
The way this contract is structured, they can cut him after the season, save $17 million.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you? He is not...
You get Ayuk back, you've got Jennings, and you've got Kittle. Much more dependable receiving core going forward.
And let's not forget the fact that Debo has an injury issue as well.
I never thought he was that good. I never ever thought he was that good. Too many trick plays.
Yeah.
You know?
Focus on one aspect. So, and you can't have two injury risks with Samuel and McCaffrey both.
And who knows with Ayuk coming back?
Yeah.
Will he bounce back and be 100% going forward? So that being said, after what I saw this past week, yes, it was a home game, but I just don't like the fact the 49ers are going to become one-dimensional. I've got to believe by the time you get down to what looks like their fourth running back. Early window, Thursday night game, I can't believe Garendo's going to be ready.
Yeah.
So that means it's going to be Purdy dependent upon to throw, and throw.
And you just have to pin your ears back if you're the Rams and go after it.
And Sean McVay's not an idiot.
No.
He's one of the smarter head coaches in the league. He'll figure it out. And you've got an entirely healthy Rams offensive unit in terms of the skill position.
Yes.
Your quarterback's healthy in Stafford. Nakua's tearing it up. Kupp is now the secondary target, but still healthy.
Dangerous.
Playing well. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum in the backfield. I think the Rams have got a little momentum here.
Yep, I like the way the Rams have been playing of late versus the Niners. The Niners, yeah, they look good against the hapless Bears.
Yeah, another thing I was thinking about. Let's not take too much out of what the 49ers just did this past Sunday, please.
Not that impressive.
Yeah.
Now, so, we have our picks leaders, Sam and Bill, taking the 49ers. The rest of us maybe could get a game back on them. We're going with the Rams.
Yep. As I mentioned, 7 of our 8 panels with our picks in. Dumpster fire game of the week, number 1.
Oh, good Lord.
As I mentioned earlier in the show, the first time in 2 years, roughly 2 years, that the Carolina Panthers are favored in a football game, and it's against the Dallas Cowboys. I think this is a little, I will say this, I think this is a little unfair to the Cowboys.
Is it, though? It's
they
their
should
own
have
making.
beat the Bengals if it wasn't
But
for one.
they didn't.
I
buying-
love what Dave Canales is doing with the Panthers.
Over the last couple weeks, they've been playing much better. I believe in the Panthers over the Cowboys. So does Aaron.
I'm taking the Cowboys. So are Sam and Bill and Nick and Doug. I just don't think the Cowboys are that bad. They held down an explosive Bengals offense.
And still found a way to lose.
You're focusing on one play.
It's a symptom of their entire season.
The one criticism you should have of the Cowboys is Cooper Rush can't throw the ball down the field. They dink and dunk, trying to get CeeDee Lamb going. Rico Dowdle is the one that's benefiting from this. Rico Dowdle, the last few weeks, has become a top 10 running back. When they finally decided, maybe Ezekiel Elliott, we should put him out to pasture. Yeehaw! No Cowboys, pun intended.
Yeah, you're not feeding him cereal. He's chewing his own cud at this point.
Yeah. Dumpster fire game of the week, number 2.
Oh, God help us.
The 3-10 Jets at the 3-10 Jaguars.
Oh, the Jaguars.
Somehow again managing to beat the Titans in Tennessee last weekend.
The Jets are a better team than the Jaguars.
I
Not
agree.
by much.
Yeah.
But everybody's taking the Jets except for Aaron. He's taking the home Jags.
No thanks. No,
Nope,
no way.
Nope. Can't do it.
Nope.
Can't do it. Then we get my Dolphins going into Texas to take on the Texans.
I'm an island boy. Island. Oh, sorry.
Are you done? If you haven't guessed, Kevin's taking the Dolphins while the rest of us are taking the Texans.
For shame on you! I'm sticking up for your team and you aren't. That's a travesty.
On the road, I don't trust that defense.
It's not in 30-degree weather. It's in Houston.
I still don't trust that defense right now.
Houston, God damn it. Houston is one of the most overrated teams in the league. What is Houston? You're just saying Nico Collins. He's been my favorite fantasy player all year. C.J. Stroud has taken 5 steps back this year as a quarterback.
I'm just hoping Mixon will run all over him.
Again, the Dolphins are at full strength on offense. They found Jonnu Smith. They finally found out how to use a tight end.
In the overtime.
A-Chain. One of the best running backs in the league.
This I'm hoping for a pinball game.
You're so selfish. All you care about is your fantasy stats.
Yeah.
I care about your team.
No, you don't.
And their chances for the playoffs. I don't have any players on any of these 2 teams in my fantasy lineup. I don't care. I'm picking from my heart for you.
Yeah, sure. Have fun with
that. I think the Dolphins are the better team. I don't like the Texans. I love DeMeco Ryans. I do as a head coach. But this team has just not played consistently this year.
Neither has Miami.
They have lately since they got Tua back.
But I'm worried
as long
about
as the weather's about 40 degrees.
I'm worried about the defense.
I'm fine with being island boy on this.
There you go.
Everybody else goes with the Texans. I'm taking the Dolphins. Goddamn fucking Colts. God, I hate the Colts.
Colts?
How are they still alive for a playoff spot?
They're bad.
Does that mean Shane Steichen is a good head coach?
No.
Are they lucky?
They're lucky.
They're 6-7 right now.
They're stumbling and bumbling through.
An easy schedule.
That too.
They played the Bears, so that right there tells you it's an easy schedule.
Yeah. Ugh.
Colts go into Mile High to play. I know it's not Mile High anymore technically. Was it Invesco Field or whatever?
Whatever the hell they call it now.
Colts at the Broncos. You know I love me some Sean Payton. I love me some Bo Nix. I hate Anthony Richardson. Give me the Broncos all day, every day in this game.
The Broncos for you, me, Bill, Doug, and Aaron. Sam and Nick going with the Colts. Don't see it.
No way. No way.
Don't see it.
Sorry. Nope. Oh, look again. Can you hear the tropical drums playing? Island Boy is back. Da, 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 da. Island Boy.
So you are taking the Bills.
Why are you people so down on the Bills? Why?
They're on the road in Detroit. That's it.
And this is a statement game to get them back on track after what happened at SoFi Stadium. The Lions.
Dan Campbell is going to want to make a statement in this
He's
game.
going to bite some kneecaps. Yeah, well, Josh Allen, when he goes to bite Josh Allen's kneecap, Josh Allen's going to bring that knee up and knock his teeth out.
I was going to say he's going to jump over him.
MVP of the league is Josh freaking Allen. Apologies to the great Saquon Barkley. We're still keeping you in consideration if you break the rushing record.
Yep.
But Josh Allen right now is the runaway MVP of the league. The Lions, I don't trust that defense. I don't. And I think the Bills' defense, while it's not great,
might just show up enough. This was not an easy game to pick.
How am I the only one out of the 7?
You're not, well, yeah, out of the 7.
Yeah, Mrs. C will end up when she gets her picks.
She will be taking the Bills.
And by the way, as I mentioned earlier, Facebook. Check out Facebook Thursday night before the kickoff of the Rams and 49ers game. All 8 panelists' picks will be in. And of course, as Dave alluded to, I will not be Island Boy for long.
No, you will not.
Mrs. C is a diehard Bills fan. She will take the Bills.
She is a
Let me enjoy being on an island for a little while, will you?
Mrs. C is a member of the Bills Mafia.
As I sell my coconut heads to the tourists just to get by, to scrape by.
All right. Quit your tale of woe, lame-o. Steelers at the Eagles, the Battle of Pennsylvania.
Now, there's dissension in the ranks of the Eagles. A.J. Brown, I'm beginning to think he's a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, he's becoming that stereotypical pain-in-the-ass wide receiver.
People have issues with the head coach, Nick Sirianni, although he's toned it down this year and he looks like he's got the ship righted.
It took him a few weeks.
I just have never seen Jalen Hurts do anything to make me believe he's nothing but a solid leader of men. A great quarterback. A.J. Brown is a typical prima donna wide receiver.
Yep. Gimme. Oh, you threw to me and I missed it. Gimme. Oh, okay, I caught this one, but went down as soon as I got hit.
You just can't deny Saquon Barkley and the talent on that team. And all kudos to Mike Tomlin and what he's done with the Steelers this year. Way beyond what I expected.
Yeah, but the Steelers are overmatched against the Eagles.
And who knows if George Pickens will be playing.
Yeah, he's
another diva receiver.
Who hasn't done anything to earn to be a diva, consider himself that.
What was it? Somebody said, there is no I in team, but there sure as hell is in receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Eagles for everybody, but Bill and Aaron going with Steel City.
All right.
Oh, this one hurts me. Now, a lot of this pick depends on the injury report. And that's why it kind of sucks that we have to pick on Wednesday night here, December the 11th, because this is a game I would want to pick Saturday after I find out what the final injury report looks like.
Yeah, knowing which team is going to be closer to full strength.
Yeah, because I got screwed by Bucky Irving last week. Injuring his back, barely played. Again, fantasy, I'm sorry, selfish. Rashad White ends up being the flavor of the week for the backfield. Thanks a lot, Todd Bowles. But Baker came through as he always does. But they've been beating up on the dregs. Now the big boys come to town. But the big boys are injured.
I don't know that I would put the Chargers in and amongst the big boys yet.
I think Jim Harbaugh has done more with that team than I expected.
They're there, but they have not crossed that threshold. They're close.
I have been nothing but an advocate for the Buccaneers. I told you at the end of the year they're going to be the third best team in the NFC. And I will stand by that. This will be the last game they lose this year. I'm hoping. Now, this is what I'm depending on Ladd McConkey playing and Justin Herbert playing. If Justin Herbert doesn't play, then this pick will blow up in my face. And I don't think, even if Ladd McConkey is out, I don't think they can win. They need both of those guys healthy enough to play. If they both play, Chargers win. Because they have the better head football coach.
They do have the better coach.
I don't trust Todd Bowles over Jim Harbaugh. Knife fight, wings eating contest. I don't care. I don't trust Todd Bowles.
I'm taking the Buccaneers, as is Doug. God help me on that one.
That's never a good sign. Never a good sign.
Never a good sign. No, I like the Chargers. There's just something there coming into this one.
They're gritty, Dave. They're gritty.
There's something
they take after
nagging.
Their head coach.
There's a nagging thing.
No, I'm with you. But they're gritty. And the Buccaneers are flawed. As much as I love them, they're flawed. And this is a great defense. This is a great defense.
That's susceptible, as we've seen.
Chargers for me, for Sam, for Bill, for Nick, and for Aaron. But once again, you're with Doug.
It's worked before.
Yeah. Could you show
Rarely.
me a spreadsheet on that? I think that would be empty.
It's once or twice. All right, last of our picks. Packers at the Seahawks.
Crucial game. If the Seahawks lose this, then once again, that NFC West becomes jumbled up.
Yep. And
the Packers, do they really have a lot to play for here?
They're still playing for seeding as a wild card.
Yeah, between what, the 6th and the 7th seed? Between them and the Commanders? Now I'm picking the Packers, but I'm just saying, devil's advocate, what is their motivation versus the Seahawks at home?
Because they're trying to show we do belong. Setting a tone, because if the Seahawks do pull it off, they're in their head.
Packers, and you're right, that could end up being a matchup in the first round, conceivably.
Yeah.
Now, I'm taking the Packers. I am. They're the better team. But I'm trying to look at both sides here. But I can't. I don't trust the Seahawks. Again, I said the stat earlier. Geno Smith is barely throwing one touchdown pass a game.
The Seahawks are relying on the run. The Packers are good against the run.
Except for this week, if Zach Charbonnet is starting, then they will suck. For me. In fantasy football.
And there you go.
But again, see, I separate the two.
You did. Very well.
Packers for everybody on the panel so far but Doug. Poor Doug. I see the epic fail trophy in his future yet again. God, I love Doug. We've got our big winter sports frenzy meeting this Monday. I'm hoping everybody shows up.
Yep. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
And then now we move on to college football and the big fucking news of the week. And yes, I will curse on this. The big fucking... Who would have thought this was a little bit of a teaser, an inkling of 4 or 5 days ago? Oh, yeah, okay. Whatever. You tell me this? Sure. This ain't going to happen. It's happening.
Yep. Bill Belichick is the new head football coach at the University of North Carolina.
One of the most shocking developments in sports history. He is closing in on the NFL ranks on Don Shula's all-time win total to make him inarguably the greatest head football coach in professional football history. And he says, nah, fuck it. I'm going to the college ranks.
You know what? Nobody's showing any interest in me. Fuck it, I want to coach. Let's go to college.
Is it nobody's showing any interest, or nobody's willing to give him the control he wants?
Nobody's willing to give him the control he wants. Great head coach. We saw he was not a great GM.
How will he handle this? The NIL stuff, the recruit. This is reeking to me a lot of Deion Sanders. You know, thinking the ego and the reputation
will be the draw.
And we saw with Deion, he's doing very well. Still wouldn't trust him on the pro level.
No, but at the college ranks, he's actually got a decent staff together, pulling in some players. He's not horrible.
Now, you guys can always correct me. I am fine with you dropping us a comment and correcting me. But I swear to God, I thought I saw this week. Because, of course, we had National Signing Day as well.
Yeah.
That Colorado had the most players among the big schools transferring out.
Interesting.
So, do they know something we don't? Is Deion one of those guys that will burn his bridges with his players really quickly? If you're not Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter.
Something to think about.
But this blows my mind. Now, again, he's friends with Nick Saban. But Nick Saban walked away because of the NIL bullshit.
Yep,
he says, I'm not dealing with this.
He was tired of it.
And I can't blame him. In basketball, the news just came out that BYU got the #1 2025 recruit because they paid him $7 million.
Oh, good Lord.
This is the world you're living in now, Bill.
Yep. Well, he's dealt with the salary. He's dealt with salary caps before.
Just because your girlfriend now gets free tuition to go to grad school.
He's dealt with salary caps.
Can you get a PhD in cheerleading?
Wow.
I'm torn on this. I'm like 50%. This could be one of the ballsiest fucking moves ever. Or 50%. This is going to be an absolute train wreck. I'm sorry. I know you and I agreed over the past month. We don't like to hedge our bets anymore. No 2.5 ratings on the weekend edition. But this is 50-50.
This is a jump ball right here.
Yeah. I don't know which way this is going to go. I don't know. And what I told you I heard, speculation only, kids, is that he's setting this up for his son. And his coordinators from the Patriots, their sons and their relatives, he wants this to become a Belichick family thing in the future. So he's going to set the foundation, and then he might let his son come in and take over.
We'll see how that works out.
And he does have history. His father had some coaching capacity at North Carolina way back in the day.
Yeah. We'll see.
This stuns me.
This is a story that's going to keep going for
stuns me
quite a while.
My God.
Has he been studying the college game of late? Does he actually know what he's getting into?
I don't know. Thing. That's why I'm saying this is, like you said, a jump ball. This is a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah, either he's been doing his homework over the last year.
And Bill O'Brien, one of his former coaches.
Yeah.
Just went back to Boston College. Decent success, but didn't blow the doors off.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe it's just to scratch that itch.
I think he was just jealous because he said, I'm going to take the spotlight away from them announcing the college football playoff 12-team bracket for the first time ever.
Screw you all.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Let the ego run free.
I'm going to tell you something. The fuckers got it right. The idiots got it right. I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe they actually listened to people like us, people in the media. Well, not the media, because the media, Alabama.
Alabama does not fucking deserve to be there. Period. End of story.
And they got it right. Now, Clemson helped them out by beating SMU, and SMU helped them out by coming back and making it a ball game.
Yeah.
Because if that had been a blowout, they might have been.
They might have. Maybe.
But the fact that SMU came back and tied that game late, and it took a long-ass field goal from Clemson to win the ACC championship, I think secured SMU's spot in the final 12.
I still have issues with the loser of the conference championships getting in. If you want to make the conference championship really mean something, then you can't have the runner-up still make it.
Well, there are
when you have other teams on the outside looking in with better records than Alabama, better records than Ole Miss.
Here's the problem. And I know we've heard Lane Kiffin. He's been nothing but bitching and pissing and moaning and complaining about this for various reasons. The problem is you've got an imbalance of games played.
Yeah.
Once you start saying a team like Tennessee, for example, everybody said Tennessee's locked in. Well, they're not playing in the SEC championship.
So,
but, you know, they've been good enough where they should maybe be in the top 12. But Georgia, let's look at Georgia. Compare them to Tennessee. Now, we all picked Texas. We were wrong. And, of course, we'll recap the conference championships here in a minute. But Georgia beat Texas. But if they'd lost in the SEC championship, they'd had 3 losses.
Right. They would have been out.
No, they still would have been in.
3 losses should not be it. That's what I'm saying.
But they played an extra game as opposed to I'm just comparing Tennessee
which is
and
where
Georgia.
You have got to get rid of the conference championship games now.
And that's one of
you have got to eliminate the
proposed solutions among
games.
many others.
Conference championships gone, done away with.
But look at the NFL. All teams play 17 games. There's no debate. There's no discussion.
No.
There's no fighting. There's no pollsters involved. You know who's going to make it in. 7 from the AFC, 7 from the NFC, based on record.
Records.
But all this bullshit in college football where, like you said, conference championship games, strength of schedule because you don't play on an even playing field. Sometimes you got cupcakes on your schedule. Sometimes a team you played, and this is something you and I discussed, sometimes a team you played second week of the season that was ranked really high ends up sucking, and by the end of the season...
where does your strength of schedule go there?
Yeah, we don't even know. You and I have debated and discussed this.
You cannot rank teams until after the 4th week. You got to get rid of the preseason rankings.
Well, I think it'd also be based on the end of the year because what does it matter if you beat Michigan, for example? Michigan was a top-ranked team early in the year, and then they fell out because they weren't that good.
Yep,
but because you beat them in week 2, when you beat them in week 2 when they were ranked 10th, does that mean you get credit for beating a top 10 team? Why? They're not a top 10 team at the end of the year.
No, you have to look at which teams are ranked in the top 25 at the end of the year. And who did you play and how did you beat them?
All sorts of problems with this. But like I said...
It's a step it's a better step, but there's still issues to tweak.
They saved their ass for the first year. For the 1 year. by not putting Alabama in. Because I tell you what, that one change, putting Alabama in and knocking SMU out,
would have been
I would have been ranting for 15 minutes, spouting holy hellfire on this podcast if they'd
and
done
that's
that.
what every sane person was doing when they had Alabama penciled in at 12 last week.
Maybe they listened.
Because
Maybe
everybody was pissed that no 3-loss team should be in.
And I don't even think they were the 3-loss team that should be in. What about South Carolina?
South Carolina played really damn good ball. But again,
Why can't we get some love for the Cox?
Cox need love.
Seriously, they were playing the best football of anybody in the SEC at the end of the year with 3 losses.
And their losses were
And I've
close.
already made my case for Miami, but I've also told everybody as an unbiased podcast football expert that I would not have put Miami in the top 12. Their defense is atrocious. Did not deserve to be in the top 12. But Alabama sure as fuck didn't belong there
either. No.
So the buys go to, and this is another point of contention people are bitching about.
Why should the conference champions automatically get a bye?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't. You got 5 conference champions. The lesser of the 5 does not get the automatic home game or the automatic bye. They might get the home game, they don't get the bye. Oregon, obviously undefeated, Big Ten champion. Georgia, 2 losses, but SEC champion. Boise State, Mountain West champion. Arizona State, thank God.
Yeah.
They were the ones I was worried were going to get screwed. Arizona State, Big 12 champion. Those 4 teams get buys. No, they don't get home games, but they don't have to play opening weekend or opening week.
Right.
So that leads us to where we are in the country and the little fiefdom known as Notre Dame. Ranked number 3 at the year end in the AP poll.
But 7th in the seeding.
I have a little bit of a problem with that. You and I have been talking for weeks like they were a lock for the number 5.
They should have been.
It was going to be 5 versus 12.
Yeah, they should have been 5.
But Penn State got ahead of them. What, Ohio State got ahead of them, right?
Yeah, both of them. 2 Big Ten teams.
Yeah. So Notre Dame in a big-time interstate matchup.
Yep, will be hosting the Hoosiers of Indiana University.
Friday night, December the 20th at Notre Dame Stadium. Now, I'll admit, I do like this whole first-round home game advantage.
I do, too. That adds that element, that NFL playoff element.
Yes. Yes. And then, of course, we've already mentioned that Tennessee's in. Clemson, even though they won the ACC, were the one conference champion that did not perform well enough because, again, 3 losses.
Yep, 3 losses and they squeak by.
They're the 12th seed. So the Big Ten got 4 teams in. Oregon, Ohio State,
Penn State,
IU. SEC only got 3 in. Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. So you get 7 right there. I said it was going to be 8. I thought there was an under-the-table agreement that the Big Ten and the SEC were going to both get 4 teams in. Did not
There
happen.
should not be any guarantees.
No, I know, but you know I'm a cynical bastard.
Yeah, I know.
So then you got 7 there, 7 out of the 12. Notre Dame Independent, 8. Mountain West, 9. Big 12, 10. ACC gets 2. Clemson and SMU. That's the little shocker.
It's a little intriguing.
But again, I am
I
happier with
like-
SMU being in than Alabama.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the fuck's going on with Miami. I don't know. This season has to go down outside of Cam Ward as a disappointment. It's
Again,
got to. They dropped the 15th in the AP poll, finished the year, of course, 10-2. So they're playing in the what is going on with these bowls? You would think Miami, just outside the top 12, would be able to get a more prestigious bowl in Florida. How about the Gator Bowl? How about the Citrus
not?
Bowl? I understand they want home territory, home turf for their bowl. Citrus Bowl, Gator Bowl,
Why not? No. Where are they going?
the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Miami's playing in the Pop-Tarts fucking bowl.
And where is that at?
It's in Orlando. But it's the second Orlando, the Citrus Bowl, the old Citrus Bowl, gets 2 bowl games.
Yeah, the Citrus Bowl and the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And
Yeah.
the Pop-Tarts
And
is
they
the
couldn't
weaker
even
of the
get
two.
in the Citrus Bowl. But the thing is they got the toughest draw. They're playing number 18 Iowa State. How is that
How
game?
is that a second-tier bowl?
I don't Nobody cares about the Pop-Tarts Bowl. How is that not the Citrus Bowl? So
That's pretty pathetic.
15 versus 18 in the AP poll
In a shitty bowl.
is the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
That's so bad.
Heisman Trophy candidates. Final 4. 4 gentlemen have been invited to the ceremony. Pretty much who you expected. Travis Hunter, offense, defense, can do it all for Colorado. Dylan Gabriel, starting quarterback for the number 1 Oregon Ducks. Boise State's Ashton Junty.
Running back extraordinaire.
And I'm still going to be curious. I know you and I disagree on this. If he's sitting there at 8 or 9 or 7 where the Bears draft. I know you want an offensive lineman, but
Fucking need offensive line.
that's what free agency is for.
You need to draft.
Ashton Junty, by the way, currently at 2,497 rushing yards, 4th all time for a single season, and he ain't done yet. And then finally, last but best, Cam Ward, greatest quarterback in the history of Quarterback University. I present to you, Heisman voters, for your consideration, the great, the glorious Cam fucking Ward. Dun, dun.
Be prepared to be disappointed.
He'll finish 3rd.
Yep.
I hope he finishes ahead of Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel does not deserve the Heisman. Sorry.
But yeah, Hunter and Jonty are the 2 you're looking at.
Yeah. Those 2 have been freaking monsters. So
But I will not take back the fact that he is the greatest quarterback in Miami history. Over one season. Over one season.
Yes.
Over one season. No disrespect to Bernie Kosar, Jim Kelly, Vinny Testaverde. Disrespect to Gino Torretta, because that piece of shit didn't
He's
deserve it.
Garbage.
He was Miami's version of Rex Grossman.
Oh, God.
Drop back, throw the ball up in the air, and make my receivers make the play. Fuck
Oh.
it. Fuck it, I'm throwing it downfield.
Oh, Johnny Manziel.
Purdue has a new head coach. And of course, how it works. More money, bigger program in one of the Power Four conferences. So Purdue poaches Barry Odom, head coach of UNLV. Can't get any worse
No.
for the Boilers. Gotta be looking up.
Awful.
Good news and bad news for our man in Oklahoma State.
Oh, Mr. Gundy.
There was a little bit of a testy situation going on there.
Oh, what's up with Coach Mullet? Let's tell the kids.
Well, he's been there for 2 decades at least, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they've gone back and forth, him and the powers that be. And he's asked for money, and he's taken a pay cut, and they've gone up and down like a roller coaster. Well, they told him after this year, buddy, you taking a pay cut.
This was not a good year.
Yes. So after this disastrous year for Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy did indeed agree to a restructured contract. Otherwise, they were going to can his ass. So at least we get to see the mullet again for another year or so.
Until somebody else comes a calling.
The thing that worries me, and I follow Oklahoma State a little bit more closely, again, because we love Mike Gundy. Just like Mike Leach. The late, great Mike Leach.
And when we follow Doug Peterson coming out of Boise State.
Yep. College coaches with personality, with leadership skills that are different from the milquetoast Jason Day type crap.
Yeah. He's a useless fucktard.
But you follow these coaches and you hope they succeed because you want them to stick around.
Yeah.
You know. And, Mike Gundy, I just want him to coach until he can leave on his terms. I don't want him to get canned and embarrassed.
No. This was, God, as long as we've been following them, this has been his worst season.
And again, this is where I was heading. It took me a while to get there, but again, I have a head full of snot, so. He came into the season with a highly regarded offense. One of the best running back recruits. A guy who was comparable to Ashton Jonty. And they really flamed out.
They woefully underperformed.
So when you say, and I agree with you completely, they underperformed with a group of guys, especially on offense, that should have been top 10.
Yeah.
So that's what really killed him. Speaking of underperforming, tell me if you've heard this name before, Dave. UCLA fires offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy.
No. Gee, wasn't he just at Washington last year? With the Commanders?
Ever since he left
Kansas City.
A certain team, yeah. Hasn't really done all that well, has he?
No, he has not.
And of course, just like we talked about with Purdue poaching UNLV's head coach Barry Odom, it looks like UCLA will poach Indiana University quarterback coach Tino Sunseri to take over their offense in 2025. National Signing Day. Again, I get confused now with all the different rules and the NIL crap.
Now why? Why in God's name is their National Signing Day and the transfer portal going on in the midst of the season? Because you're just finished and now you're prepping for the bowls and everything else, and you got guys jumping all over the fucking place. It makes no sense at all. Lane Kiffin is right on this.
I was going to say.
Lane Kiffin is so fucking right on this. Why in God's name is the NCAA's rule so fucking stupid?
I was just going to say, that was on Lane Kiffin's list of grievances, number 427.
It should have been number 1. I mean, this is just asinine stupidity that the coaches have to deal with all this shit while they're prepping for postseason play.
You wait until Festivus, NCAA.
Good
Lane
God.
Kiffin has got to air some grievances with you.
Oh, it's pathetic.
Let's take the head of the NCAA and do feats of strength with Lane Kiffin.
I'd watch that.
So National Signing Day, again, I'm not sure.
I thought National Signing Day was in
That's
February.
the thing. I don't understand when this all falls now with the whole NIL transfer portal crap. But supposedly, it just happened last week. And of course, the usual suspects are all at the top. Oregon is number 1 according to Rivals.
Blah.
Notre Dame 12, Miami 13. There you go. Same old, same old. It's not like Marshall jumped into the top 10. It's Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon. It's the same old
the
schools.
same bullshit. Ohio State, Michigan, blah blah
with
blah.
The boosters
blah,
with
blah.
the deep pockets now. That's all that matters.
Who's gonna pay me?
All right, Dave. Let's look back at the conference championships real quick from last weekend.
Ugh.
We won't cover all of them. Sorry to the smaller schools, but just really have better, more important things to move on to. We did mention Boise State took care of business, knocked off UNLV in the Mountain West title game, which set them up for their first round bye in the CFP bracket.
Yep. And on a personal note, fuck you, Tulane. Your green wave piddled out into nothing. Good God.
We're not trying to take anything away from Army.
No.
Now, me personally, they screwed me 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Because I had a big confidence number on them in Sports Frenzy West.
Yeah.
Confidence pool.
Duh. So bad.
Good to see Arizona State proved us right.
Yep.
And I will say this, despite the fact that I don't trust Miami's defense, and Iowa State is a great matchup on paper in terms of ranking, that's a team Miami can beat.
They should be able to beat Iowa State. Yes.
Arizona State took care of business against Iowa State in the Big 12 championship, 45-19.
Yep.
Their running back, by the way, a beast. Kids, a beast.
Yeah.
Watch him. When they get to their bowl game in the next round of the CFP, you watch Arizona State play.
Yeah.
This kid is unbelievable. Oh, can we do another personal note?
Yeah. Fuck you, Miami of Ohio. Good Lord.
I guess it's not so bad to be dug in picks after all.
No kidding. He's the only one who picked Ohio over Miami of Ohio in the MAC championship. 38-3.
Some of these games were like that. Not just this one. There were a couple other coming up where it was just so lopsided.
Yeah, Jacksonville State 52-12 over Western Kentucky.
Yeah, but at least we were on the right side of that one. I'm talking about we've got some coming up where we got shellacked the wrong way. Marshall.
Where the hell did that come from?
Marshall 31-3 over Louisiana Lafayette.
Ugh.
Then the big boys. Big boys take over the spotlight. Georgia goes overtime again. And again, comes out on top, beating Texas 22-19. Only Aaron got that one. We all bought into Sark and the Longhorns.
We thought, Georgia's going to be wiped from that overtime game, multiple overtime game.
And I'm still hearing, I listened to Phil Simms today talking about looking forward to the draft and talking about the quarterbacks. And he said, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward will be picked in the top 5. But then he said after that, they're a bunch of garbage. And he pointed out Carson Beck.
Carson Beck is useless.
Said Carson Beck, what are you seeing in Carson Beck? And this is Phil Simms, I'm paraphrasing. But he's saying, what do you see in Carson Beck that makes you think he can be a leader of men in the NFL?
Nothing.
And what do you see in Quinn Ewers?
Nothing.
He said Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and that's it this year. Oregon took care of business against Penn State like we expected. They did let up more points than I thought they would.
Yeah, Oregon's defense is not that stout.
So Oregon wins the Big Ten championship 45-37. And then Clemson in the ACC championship, thanks to Miami shitting the bed against Syracuse, gets in the ACC title game, jumps out to a big lead against SMU.
SMU shows no quit.
Plucky SMU fights back, ties the game. Clemson hits, a 56-yard field goal?
Yeah, come on, seriously?
To take the ACC title, and as we've already mentioned, with SMU fighting back, showing some resolve, I think that's what knocked Alabama out.
Yeah.
Of the 12, the bracket of 12.
Because that was one hell of a game.
Sorry.
Gotta pee.
Yep, I gotta clean out the pipes. So now, for the first time ever, in what I fondly call our crystal ball picks, going in the Wayback Machine.
Wow, I have not heard crystal ball in a long damn time.
Going again back to our cable access television days. We are going to actually have to pick the Army-Navy game at the exact same time as we start off with the great equalizer.
Yep, bowl season has kicked in.
The CFP playoff structure has pushed a lot of games back into late January and pushed some games up a little bit earlier into mid-December than we would normally have.
So, here we go.
So we start off technically with the first and only game of NCAA football week 16. The traditional showdown. Navy versus number 19 Army.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer on this one. We're all taking Army.
Don't tell that to Aaron.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. Aaron does take Navy. I did not look that far down the line.
Yep. Aaron has been kind of a contrarian lately. It's been working for him as he's making a slow, steady climb from the cellar.
Yep, this is always a tough game for them between the two, but
over the last month and a half, Navy's faded a bit.
Yeah.
Well, Army outside of the Notre Dame game has still looked
very
awesome.
Strong.
Yep. So you have Army for everybody. 7 of our 8 panelists with their picks in. Aaron, though, takes Navy.
Oh, almost Island Boy for me. We have South Alabama in the Veterans Bowl coming up here on the 14th of December.
Yep, as we kick in with a short week 1 for our bowls.
Yep.
Starting with, again, the same day. Never happened in the past. Same day as the Navy-Army game.
Yep, South Alabama versus Western Michigan. I was looking, I thought, maybe I'm going to be Island Boy, but no. I'm taking Western Michigan along with Nick. You get into this season and it's all a crapshoot.
I know. And I'm getting really tired of overthinking it. And I will say the point spread has come down, I believe, 3 points, even though it's still pretty big in favor of South Alabama. And I don't even know anymore if I care about what the Sharps think in Vegas.
They don't know shit when it comes to bowl season. That's why it's the great equalizer. I've been hosed by South Alabama, picking them and they lose. Western Michigan has usually been pretty solid in the bowls. That's why I went with them.
Yep, South Alabama for me, Sam, Bill, Doug, and Aaron.
All right.
Then we move on to Tuesday, December the 17th, the Frisco Bowl.
Number 25, Memphis at West Virginia. Ugh.
Memphis has been, they crept in to the AP Top 25.
Slid in right at the end.
West Virginia has screwed me over so much.
The hell with the Mountaineers.
Memphis, excuse me. They get me all verklempt when I think about Memphis.
Yeah.
Walking in Memphis. But Memphis was one of those teams at the beginning of the year that was projected to be one of the surprise teams.
Yeah, they underperformed. So it's just one of those years where, yes, you expect greatness or something good, and they just didn't live up to the hype.
But I'm still taking them over West Virginia.
Yeah, there's just something not right with West Virginia. So Memphis for you, me, Bill, and Doug. Where we've got West Virginia for Sam, Nick, and Aaron.
I'm telling you, Memphis just gets me all choked up.
Either that or it's all that nasty stuff in your head.
You're not talking about the phlegm either.
No, I'm not. All right, now Wednesday, December 18th, the Boca Raton Bowl. Western Kentucky versus James Madison.
Now, if you remember, we've been picking Western Kentucky the last couple weeks as they played Jacksonville State back-to-back. And they barely beat Jacksonville State at home to advance to their conference championship game, where they played at a neutral. No, they flipped.
They flipped and played at.
That was one where you actually got the home game if you were the better seed.
Yeah.
And then Jacksonville State blew their doors off.
Destroyed them.
So why am I going to have any Western Kentucky faith against a better James Madison squad?
Well, Bill and Nick seem to have that Western Kentucky faith, while the rest of us take James Madison.
And then one of the, there are tiers of bowls. There are bowls that we know have been around forever. The granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. Obviously. The Citrus Bowl, the Gator Bowl, they've been around for a while, but they're second-tier bowls.
Cotton Bowl.
The Fiesta Bowl was a manufactured bowl when we were growing up, but now it has become a top-level bowl.
Yeah.
And then you've got this made-up bullshit bowl, the LA Bowl.
Which is as bad as the Pinstripe
which I believe
Bowl.
is sponsored by Gronk.
Oh, good Lord.
In the past, I believe Jimmy Kimmel has sponsored it.
It's a crap game.
So the LA Bowl, again on Wednesday, December the 18th, California versus number 24. Again, AP rankings. Number 24, UNLV. Now, I've already pointed out UNLV will not have their head coach as he's left for Purdue.
I thought he was still coaching in this game.
No, he is not.
Ah.
Nope. Interim coach.
There was one coach who was leaving who was going to stay.
Oh, I'm sure there's got to be at least one.
I thought it was this one.
No, I did my research on this one. No, he will not be coaching this game. So,
loser.
Based on what I saw, the effort I saw from California earlier this year against my Miami Hurricanes, and the fact that UNLV screwed me over here recently in our picks, I will take the California Golden Bears. Sam is with me.
Yep.
The rest of you.
The rest of us are going with UNLV.
You running red bastards.
Yes, we are. No faith in Cal.
Finally, this will wrap up our short, brief NCAA Bowls Week 1 picks. Thursday night, December the 19th, the New Orleans Bowl.
Nolans.
Another one of these more recent bowls.
Yeah.
Not a lot of history behind it.
Because half the frickin' FBS has to make the postseason play. There's too much money at stake. Blah, blah, blah. Balls.
Anybody who gets a 500 record gets a bowl game.
Yeah, let's celebrate mediocrity more, shall we?
Welcome to America, Dave. The land of the tepid. Then the home of the lukewarm.
Yeah. I don't know. They used to be indecisive. Now they're not so sure.
This is why we work so well together. Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston. Point spread's 5.5 as we researched and put this together for Georgia Southern.
Again, it's a crapshoot.
Looking at Sam Houston in the games they've played recently, they seem very offensively challenged.
Yeah, they have had some very close games.
Low scoring,
very
close
low scoring.
games.
Georgia Southern seems to have had a stronger schedule overall as well.
Yep, so you and I and Sam, along with Aaron, are taking Georgia Southern. Bill, Nick, and Doug taking Sam Houston. Of course, one more panelist pick still to come.
Yep, Mrs. C will have hers in.
And once again, don't forget those picks will be posted Thursday night, December the 12th. So we thought the Bill Belichick news was big. And to me, that's the biggest news of the week.
Yep.
But, once again, the attention whore that he is knocked off what would have been the biggest headline of the week as we move on to baseball.
Yep, hot stove heating up the winter meetings. Well, it was just a matter of time into who, because you knew the White Sox were not going to keep Garrett Crochet.
What are you talking about? That's not the big baseball news of the week.
You mean Juan Soto?
It's always got to be about you and your White Sox.
I love to do that to you.
We'll get to your White Sox.
Juan Soto to the Mets. Good Lord.
15 years, $765 million, which will carry from 2025 to 2039. Unlike the Dodgers, no deferred money.
No, they are just paying it straight out.
There is an opt-out clause after 5 years, but the Mets, all they have to do is basically give him an extra $4 million a year for the rest of the contract to cancel out the opt-out.
Not horrible.
No.
So,
but I have heard Mets fans
not happy.
in the sports media, and obviously a lot of people in New York are in sports media, say that it doesn't make sense to build a team like this. They even are showing some rational thought. Now the thing is, a lot of money dropped off the Mets payroll
The Verlander Scherzer money.
after the Verlander Scherzer money went away. Plus Pete Alonso.
Right.
Remember, he's gone, technically. Yeah. So they are not doing what the Dodgers are doing and just going full bore, blasting hell and beyond the luxury tax threshold. They're actually still
trying to be semi-responsible.
And you and I discussed this off mic. They seem to be taking the same strategy with pitching that the Cubs are.
Yeah, they're going mid-tier. They're not. They got burned paying a shit ton of money to Verlander and Scherzer, and they're not going to fall down that hole again.
And your Uncle Dave and I have been talking about this all year, and the year before, and the year before that, that starting pitching, even though the money is going up, in terms of the play on the field, has been devalued.
Right. They're not letting him go beyond 5 innings. If they let them pitch through 5, they're not letting them anywhere close to over 100 pitches. It's pathetic. So why are you going to pay a starter $30 to $40 million a year if you're not going to utilize him? If he's not going to go 7, 8 innings, if he's not going to pitch 200 plus innings a year, what's the fucking point?
I'd rather stack my bullpen.
Yeah, at this point, the way the game is being played now, that's where you have to go.
All right, before we get to your White Sox, let me run through some of the signings of the past week as the winter meeting started last Sunday, the 8th. Talking about starting pitching, somehow the value going up money-wise.
Yeah, because you know the Yankees were going to pay for starting pitching.
Yeah, well, that was the big one. Max Fried. You knew the minute they didn't get Soto, they had to make a splash. 8 years for Max Fried, $218 million. He's going to be 31 years old when the season starts in 2025.
Again, overpaying for an older starting pitcher.
And a guy with injury issues.
Yes. Again, Yankees spending money stupidly.
The Rangers bring back Nathan Eovaldi. 3 years, $75 million. $25 million a year for Nathan Eovaldi. The A's trying to make a big splash.
Ooh.
Trying to start to win over that Vegas crowd.
Yeah.
Luis Severino gets 3 years and $67 million. Now, before they sign Juan Soto, the Mets bring in former Yankees closer Clay Holmes. 3 years, $38 million, but they're going to convert him back to a starter.
It's a reasonable amount for a starter.
If
he can
the
make
experiment works.
If it works. He better start stretching that arm out now.
Yeah, I don't think he is. He started a few games when he first came up for Pittsburgh, maybe. Cleveland brings back Shane Bieber on a 1-year, $10 million deal. Looks to me like the contract technically is $14 million. But I think it's $10 million and then a $4 million buyout.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, Cleveland's going to try again this year.
No,
Cleveland's actually going to try. In this economic system that the great Rob Manfred has created.
And perpetuates.
The Guardians trade away after, we're bringing back Shane Bieber. Woo! They trade away one of their young superstars who they had under control in a very team-friendly deal. Andres Jimenez. Trade him away to the Blue Jays for prospects.
Idiots. Seriously, come on.
So once again, we are seeing the haves and the have-nots.
The haves and the hapless.
And of course, speaking of which, the Marlins just got a hold of former White Sox.
Jake Berger.
Yep, White Sox slugger Jake Berger. He will go now to the Texas Rangers.
Rangers get a power hitter there.
Supposedly going to be DH, full-time DH. Now, outside of Juan Soto and Max Fried, the other big signing of the week, Willie Adames leaves mid-market Milwaukee because, of course, they could not give him a big-time deal. He goes to San Francisco. The Giants, who've been kind of bridesmaids to the Mets and the Yankees and the Dodgers here over the last few years, they will give Willie Adames a 7-year deal for $182 million.
Ay, caramba.
So there's the highlights. I'm not going to go through, bore you with all the other stuff. And then, of course, we have our teams.
Yeah. You knew the White Sox were going to trade Garrett Crochet because, God forbid, they actually keep a centerpiece player that fans would actually turn out to watch play. Heaven forbid you actually think you might try and turn this team around in a fairly quick way. Nope. Trade him away to the Boston Red Sox for 4 prospects. Catcher Kyle Teal, outfielder Brandon Montgomery, infielder Chase Meadroth, and right-handed pitcher Winkelman Gonzalez. Yay! Way to go, Chris Getz! We'll see if it works out. I'm sorry, I have no faith in this guy.
I don't know if I'm going to watch baseball this year.
I watched a grand total of, I think I said, 7 innings last year. Maybe I didn't even watch a full game.
This is why the idiot in charge is talking about the golden at bat rule and trying to find anything he can to keep people watching.
You know what'll keep people watching? Put in a hard fucking salary cap and a hard floor.
What have we always talked about with the NFL? Why is the NFL king?
Competitive balance.
We will still watch a Thursday night game between the Browns and the Jaguars in Week 11 because we know that at least both teams had a shot at spending the same amount of money as the Cowboys and the Rams
and the Niners
and the Chiefs. Now, as fans, the thing is we appreciate what teams are smart enough to spend that money wisely. That's why we watch the NFL religiously, and we hate baseball.
And basketball.
The Nationals won the draft lottery, so they will pick first for the right to choose a player who they will trade to the Yankees in 5 years.
I was going to say 3.
That's another thing. I mean, we're on watch for Skeens already. Paul Skeens.
When's he going to be traded to,
how long is it
to the Yankees or the Dodgers?
How long is it going to be before the Pirates ship him out? It's just pathetic. And Rob Manfred is a awful human being for not fixing this.
He is
for not going to the owners and fixing this.
He is a pathetic individual.
And you and I have always said, you go to the players' union, you give them a proposal where you show if you make the Pirates and the Reds and the Rays spend $140 million a year.
More players get paid.
Just because you're capping the top, you can make more money at the bottom.
Yeah.
So it'll be better for the players.
It will be better overall.
Because Rob Manfred doesn't have the brains of a fucking retarded gnat.
He doesn't get it.
If he was a true businessman who knew what he was doing, he could put that proposal out there and get the players' union on his side and get this done.
Yeah, because you know the lower tier players would all be in favor of getting more money. The hell with the 2% players who are getting the monster contracts.
Sorry, I'm just making a note here for the weekend edition. I just thought of something that I have to, you'll appreciate. Can't bring it up now, though. It has to be on the weekend edition.
There you go.
Just made me think of it in my rant about Rob Manfred. So even though the whole situation, again, Rob Manfred fucking up completely, still don't know 100% for sure if the A's are officially moving to Vegas, partially now the Tampa Bay Rays problem has been solved. Partially. As a St. Petersburg City Council approved the bonds needed for the new Rays ballpark, but we have to wait for the county now to do their part. So that is still not resolved yet. If you don't have a way, I don't care if NFL, basketball, hockey, the Big Four, baseball, if you don't have a way to immediately secure financing for a new stadium, you either tell them that we're moving the team or you pay for it.
There you go.
This years and years of dicking along, and we got to work with this entity, and then this entity, and then this entity.
Stop.
The NFL never has these problems. They approved the Orchard Park stadium for the Bills. How quickly? How quickly did that get done?
Really damn quick, because they appreciate the team up there. But on the other hand, these owners need to fork over the vast majority of the money to pay for this shit.
And you know why they do in the NFL? Because it makes money. And people watch, just like we said. Baseball, they know. The owners know we're living on borrowed time.
Yep.
It's all revenue sharing. That's why they love watching Stevie Cohen, Uncle Stevie, spend all this money on Juan Soto. And then Max Fried money coming from the other side of town.
Oh, they're over the cap. We're going to get this
revenue
into our
sharing,
coffers.
Yep, flows down to the bottom, which is a
bullshit.
Terrible.
It's an awful model.
It's a bullshit welfare economic model is what it is.
Yep. Ugh.
Now, you already talked about Garrett Crochet, but great news for you as a White Sox fan. Absolutely great news. Baseball Hall of Fame, the classic era, which we used to call the Seniors Committee.
Yeah.
But of course we can't say that because it sounds like
veterans?
it's old people. Yes, the Veterans Committee.
Dick Allen. Finally. Yep. Posthumously.
Former White Sox AL MVP.
Yep, one of the most feared sluggers of his era gets in.
Along with one of my personal favorites, even though he was a division rival of the Cubs, Dave Parker.
Playing for
Love Dave Parker. Two-time batting champion.
Yep.
Played with the We Are Family Pittsburgh Pirates with Willie Stargell.
Yep, that was a hell of a team.
I love Dave Parker. Because the Cubs sucked so bad back then, I had to root for
something.
The teams that I watched.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to root for the fucking Cardinals, so it was all about the Pirates. And I loved it. What a swing. Such a sweet swing.
Yep. So, two well-deserving individuals getting it.
Yep. Pirates back then had some ridiculous batters.
Yeah.
Hitters. Bill Madlock, of course, that came to us for a while. But, of course, bad news on the Cubs front. I might sound terrible right now. Yes, the microphone is working properly.
You're just congested beyond all belief.
I am not doing my imitation of Froggy from the old Little Rascals days. That reference might hit with 2% of our audience. But I will not be in good shape if Ryan Sandberg passes. And his cancer is back.
Unfortunately, and worse news is it's spread to other organs.
So I don't know how much longer he's got. I will hope for the best, of course. But this is not good news, so... I was a mess when Walter Payton died. I was a mess when Eddie Van Halen died. And this will be the third. This will be the third of the three big ones for me in terms of my pop culture and sports heroes. When Ryan leaves, that's going to kill me. It will.
Yeah, he's your all-time favorite player.
My all-time favorite baseball player, yep. But modern medicine's supposedly great, right? Even though
Sure.
healthcare CEOs are getting gunned down on the streets. It's all good. It's all good. Let's take a quick divergent path. Then we'll get back to the normal sports. Let me do some positivity here after that negativity. My Clint Eastwood badasses of the week. Because I do like to put positivity in every now and again onto the show.
It's needed.
As much as Dave tries to drag us all down,
Hey!
I need to be the flower of optimism.
And I forgot my waiters.
We're
All right,
talking
who do you
soccer
have?
here. We're talking soccer. Let's give a shout out to the women. It's been a great week for North Carolina. Let me tell you that. First, Bill Belichick. And now the North Carolina women's soccer team wins their 22nd NCAA championship.
Wow.
Far and away a dynasty. The best there is, the best there was, could be the best there ever will be.
That is one hell of a program that they have going right now.
Yep. And while I've got you all feeling good, I'll slip in the fact that the LA Galaxy won the MLS Cup, beating the New York Red Bulls. That's just me covering all the bases.
Okay.
Now we move on.
And that's the only soccer you're going to get probably for the next couple of months.
Yes. LA Galaxy win their 6th MLS Cup. That's it. Oh, wait, no. There's more coming at the end of the show.
Oh, no.
Now, this is the time of year where you wouldn't expect a lot of racing talk, and you're right. We have one little racing tidbit before we move on to basketball. Final race of the F1 season, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Lando Norris wins. We already talked about the fact Max Verstappen won yet another championship.
Yeah.
But
Pampered little bitch that he is.
the interesting thing about the outcome of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is that McLaren wins the first team championship for them since 1998.
Oof. Wow, that was a hell of a drought.
Now moving on to basketball. Start off with the pros.
Meh.
My Magic. God, you want to talk? I whine and cry about my bad luck in fantasy football.
The Magic have it for real.
This was such a promising season, and it still could be. Magic right now stand at 17-10. They were just eliminated last night from the NBA Cup. Who gives a rip shit?
Dumbest idea.
But the bad news is, after losing their leading scorer, Paolo Banchero, over a month ago, to a torn right oblique, Franz Wagner stepped up, putting up all-star numbers, righted the ship, had the Magic winning again.
Only to have what happen?
He tore his right oblique. Yes, the exact same injury, the exact same side of his body as Paolo Banchero. So now Franz Wagner will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So hopefully Banchero will be back soon. But
Ouch.
I will tell you this. This team is disciplined. They're well coached. Even after losing both those players, they came back and they won the first game afterwards. I mean, you're talking
They've
55 points gone from the lineup. Minimum 55 points.
time to step up.
And they played the Milwaukee Bucks extremely hard last night. even though they lost in that first round NBA Cup bullshit. So even though they're 17-10 and they're going to fade back a little bit,
Get everybody healthy.
sometimes, and we've talked about this, especially we see it in the
Get
NBA,
it over with early.
and you get the superstars. Now, I don't think Banchero and Wagner are necessarily the egomaniacs
No.
of guys like James Harden and Kevin Durant or Joel Embiid, but you get the stars out of the lineup.
And let everybody else step up, get the experience, build confidence.
And you might be surprised at what you get.
Build that bench up for the stretch run.
Congratulations to Chris Paul. This one blew me away. This blows me away. Chris Paul is now number 2 all time on the NBA assist list.
Wow.
With 12,099. Number 1 all time, going to be tough to catch. John Stockton, 15,806.
Yeah, Stockton is one of the all-time greats.
In WNBA news, and we'll have more about them at the end of the show, which actually isn't that far away.
Closing in quickly, kids.
The WNBA doing so well. I wonder why. Their 14th team, which will be added in 2026, will be the Toronto Tempo.
Right. Okay.
And then now we're starting to see the egos take over, though, in the WNBA. Now that the popularity is surging, one of the top players in the WNBA, Jewel Lloyd. You see her in State Farm commercials. Big star. Doesn't like the way she's been treated by the Seattle Storm, and she wants a trade.
Oh, boo-hoo.
You're going to see more and more of this.
Yep. They're getting the egos as their male counterparts. Not a good look.
Then we got college basketball real quick. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Last week's number 1, Kansas, lost to Creighton and Missouri. Tennessee is now the new AP number 1.
And they will be dropping next week.
Yeah, but luckily they had a cakewalk last night because they beat the Miami Hurricanes 75-62. As Miami drops to a pathetic 3-7.
Ouch. So the downfall of last year continues.
Recruiting must not be going well for the basketball team.
No, does not sound like it.
Notre Dame 500 right now at 5-5. And that would lead us to the NHL, Dave.
Yeah, sure. That coaching change did not exactly go well, as the Hawks fired Richardson. Sorensen, the new coach, in his first game, they lost.
But
But
I have to admit, I loved seeing them take it to the Rangers.
that was beautiful, though.
Listening to all the New York people bitching about the New York Rangers as the Blackhawks, the lowly Blackhawks beat them. That was great.
Their ass on that one. So now, sitting at 20 points along with the Nashville Predators, the Predators are actually at the bottom because they've played one more game than the Hawks. So that puts Nashville dead last. So, yeah, they still suck. But at least, hopefully, now we will see some signs of hope.
Boy, you're clinging to every little bit of hope you can, aren't you?
As a Chicago sports fan, you gotta look for it where you can.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sick of rooting for the Bears and the Cubs. And you notice I haven't even mentioned the Bulls at all this NBA season.
No, because they're just... eh.
Yeah. A good thing for the world at large. We do not have any moments of silence this week. Did I miss one?
Bill Melton
I did not hear that.
passed away over the last week. One of the Sox top sluggers from the early 70s.
I did not
Won a
hear
batting
that.
title for them.
Damn you, ESPN. How do you not put that out there?
Yeah. So,
Oh, I'm so
thoughts
sorry.
and prayers to his family and friends.
Oh, man, no. I would never have skipped over Bill Melton. You know that.
Yeah.
I did not hear about that at all. I'm so sorry.
So, yep.
That was not intentional on my part. Believe me. So unfortunately, what does that mean, Dave?
It's time to pivot to the dumbass segment. Who of our contestants will be named the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week? Did you pick Angry?
6?
Close.
Okay. Had a lot of last-minute entries. Let's start off with Ohio Representative Josh Williams. Yes, we're talking government.
But it's the sports segment, Kev.
This is your government in action, Dave. They don't have anything better
Government
to do.
in action?
Yeah. Yeah, when they decide to take action, it's for dumbass shit like this. Representative for Ohio, Josh Williams, has put forth a bill. I'm just a bill.
I'm only a bill on Capitol Hill.
You do that so much better than me, especially the way I am right now. It will be a felony if you are to dare to plant your flag at the middle of the field during an Ohio State game.
For the love of God, you fucking retard. This is what you're worried about. This is what's important in the world of government.
A felony.
How
felony.
Stupid are you?
So if you plant your flag after beating Ohio State in the middle of their field, you could be arrested and charged with a felony if Ohio Representative Josh Williams' bill gets passed into law.
So, moron.
Okay, we're a podcast. You get that, right? So I can't really do this one justice, but I'll try to a certain extent. So next up is Sacramento Kings head coach, Mike Brown. Now, Mike Brown's been around for a while. He can play the game, but sometimes you get to the point where you just become such a dumbass that you think you're being clever and cute.
But you're not.
And I'm going to paraphrase this and shorten it. But in a post-game press conference within the last day or two, asked about what the key is for success to his team. And again, I'm paraphrasing all of this. You have to really watch the clip to get the full effect. But Mike Brown basically says we have to be effective possession after possession after possession after possession after possession.
Brilliant, Watson.
I'm not done. But I'm not going to do it because I don't want to bore everybody to tears. He went on 26 times. 26 times. Possession after possession. They've counted it. It's out there on social media.
Oh my God.
26 times. Possession after possession. After trying to make some stupid ass point to the media. He literally sits there repeating that 26 times.
Did they check him for a stroke?
Somebody said, I think he's been caught in the Matrix.
Oh, God.
Hey, Mike.
We get it.
Don't waste our time.
You gotta
don't waste our time.
We get it. You need to be consistent, possession after possession after possession after possession after possession.
Shut, Dave! Stop! God, stop! I've already watched it once. I don't need to hear it again.
You don't want an actual recreation?
Oh my God! Oh my God! It's almost, you watch it once and you're tainted. It's like it's like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, watching the Silver Shamrock commercials. 3 more days till Halloween. No! Stop it!
6 more days till Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
And the thing
Great movie, though.
That movie's awesome, yes. Mike Brown's speech.
Not so much.
Not so much. Next up, they got to her. God damn it. They got to her.
They tainted her.
They tainted her. And not in a good way. Caitlin Clark, named Time Athlete of the Year. That's great. That's great. You know, awesome for her. Awesome. But of course, you have to do the sit-down interview, the requisite sit-down interview. And you know Time Magazine is another liberal rag. So they're going to try to get her to say something
controversial.
Or something that fits their agenda.
Right.
And say, we told you so. See, we're right, you're wrong. We told you so. Caitlin Clark admitted, as a white person, this is a direct quote, this is not paraphrased. Quote, as a white person, there is privilege. Unquote. She's basically saying, I get all this attention because I'm white. She's buying into all the bullshit that Angel Reese and Angel Wilson are out there spouting. So she's not allowed to be the best player in the WNBA and bring in more viewership and more revenue without acknowledging the fact that I'm white. That's the only reason why. This is why I hate the media. This is why I hate the media. They will find a way. Sneaky, fucking, evil bastards that they are. They will corrupt anything and everything good to suit their agenda. And now they've turned Caitlin Clark. Getting her to admit.
White privilege.
Yep. All right. I've held back on this for a while. But this past Monday night was too much. Our next nominee for Dumbass of the Week. I'm going to group them all together.
Wrestlers?
Why are you picking on the wrestlers?
Well, you said Monday night.
You assume Raw? Oh, David.
Oh, wait.
Wow.
Sorry. This isn't the weekend edition.
Wow. And I thought you were maybe starting to come around like you were in the old days. I've even told you lately wrestling is not as good.
That's why I thought that you were going there.
No!
All right, I'll wait for the weekend edition for it.
I don't have any wrestling for the weekend edition, Dave. That's next week when I review Saturday night's main event. Thank you very much. No, this is about all these stupid alternate broadcasts.
Oh my God.
For the kids. Whether it's Nickelodeon broadcasting a football game, or Madden broadcasts, or now
the
Simpsons broadcasts.
Come on. Why?
Debasing and degrading a great game.
Once again, the dumbing down of America.
Here's an idea. Crazy idea. As our society is obsessed with fathers are shit. Fathers are never around. Fathers always leave. How about we have fathers sit down with their sons or their daughters and watch a regular football game.
And explain what's going on.
No, we've got to make Homer Simpson the quarterback. Or we've got to slime somebody when they score a touchdown. Stop fucking ruining everything. Stop it.
Stop making people dumber.
And on top of this, you took away the lingerie bowl.
You know what? As a kid growing up, watching football, I never would have watched a Nickelodeon telecast.
No. No. Are you kidding me? Again, I watched Lingerie Bowl.
Well, yeah, that was exciting.
Why? No, I don't understand why a kid would want to watch that. All right, 2 more to go. Now we follow the Bulls a little bit.
Very little.
Lonzo Ball has had a very rough go of it in his career. Multiple injuries.
Came back from that knee injury just to broken wrist.
Well, Lonzo Ball has now come out and blamed his father's shoes. Lonzo Ball is blaming his father, LeVar Ball. Remember him, the egomaniac father with the baked bean teeth?
Yep, said he was better than Jordan and never got the opportunity.
Yep. And then he had to push his big baller brand shoes out
on his kids.
Well, Lonzo Ball says those shoes were basically, I'm paraphrasing, shit. And he's blaming them for a lot of his injury work, his woes, his problems, chronic issues. And he says they stem from the fact those shoes were shit.
Good for him for standing up.
He says they were basically kickball shoes.
Oof.
You want to talk about a father who did not do right by his children.
Exhibit A.
And they still stand by him. They still stand by him. And I'll say this. I'm a heartless bastard. If your father, your mother, anybody in your family is exploiting you or using you for their own personal or financial gain, get the fuck away from them. It does not make you a bad person. Do not let them guilt you. Do not let them shame you. Get the fuck away from anybody who is exploiting you. Blood relative or not.
It doesn't matter. You
do not feel bad about it.
Advantage of.
Well, it's my father, it's my mother. Doesn't matter. They're supposed to be the better person. They're supposed to care for you. And if they don't, and you see it, get away. And nobody will feel bad for you. Nobody will shame you. Nobody will make you feel bad. We will support you. Get away from toxic, poison people in your life. That is your public service announcement.
What was that book that's been around forever? Codependence No More.
And finally, I promised we weren't done with soccer yet. Dave's going to love this. Lionel Messi just won.
Isn't he dead yet?
Lionel Messi just won the 2024 award for MLS MVP.
Did he even play?
Keep in mind, kids, he won the MLS MVP starting less than half the games for his team, Inter Miami. He missed entirely over 40% of his team's schedule. The math is, he started in 15 out of 34 matches. He only played in 19 of 34, yet still won the MVP.
Methinks it was rigged.
Methinks that should tell everybody how much soccer sucks. If you can be the MVP of a league
and play that little then you have a piss-poor sport.
And a lot of it had to do with, tell me if you've heard this before, NBA fans, load management.
Bullshit.
And you wonder why the alien, a.k.a. Adam Silver, is trying his best
to get rid of it.
By saying you've got to play X number of games to qualify for postseason awards. Because he doesn't want this kind of bullshit leaking into his league. As much as I don't like Adam Silver,
at least he's got that right.
I will definitely grade him above Rob Manfred. And he's trying to understand the problems. While he takes a lot of dirty money from China.
Yep.
Or as our president-to-be says, China.
China.
I love him. I love him so much. Can't wait. We're in for 4 fun years, kids.
No.
All right, Dave.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Dave, who out of our 6 nominees, we've got the stupid-ass NFL alternate broadcast for the kids. We've got Caitlin Clark being broken down by time. MLS awarding Lionel Messi the MVP.
Well, I discount that because I don't think soccer's a real sport, so.
LeVar Ball and his big baller brand for possibly contributing to his son Lonzo's injuries. Kings head coach Mike Brown for saying possession 26 times in a row in his press conference. Or, what I think is your favorite, Ohio Representative Josh Williams and his flag-planting felony bill.
For me, it's Josh Williams and that stupid-ass overreaction.
I can't. I want to go with the stupid kids broadcast because I'm just so tired of them. And like you and I just discussed, a true good father wouldn't just turn on the TV to a Nickelodeon broadcast of a game and walk away. He would sit down with his children, watch a regular broadcast, and explain the fundamentals of the game. And if they didn't like it,
then
that's
so
fine.
be it.
You know, go dance ballet, you pussy. But no, I didn't say that out loud. I don't have a son, so. But I'm close on that. But I think I'll side with you.
That's the biggest over-fucking reaction.
It is a massive, ridiculous overreaction.
And of course, it has to come out of Ohio.
And our government.
Yeah. Ohio. Ohio really should be in the South. They are like the Florida of the North.
Oh, I don't think there's anything in common between Florida and Ohio. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, except maybe the drugs.
See, if I'd take Ohio and put them out by California and hope that they kind of get slid off or burned. Got a new fire out in California.
But where's the big one? We were promised.
Maybe old Dick Van Dyke will learn not to become a raging libtard in his last few years of life. Because the minute he starts coming out of his shell and yapping about, you know, how he's such a raging douchebag Democrat, all of a sudden the fires start surrounding his house and he has to be evacuated. The flames of hell, they are for thee, Dick. On that cheery note.
Yep. Don't forget, Saturday morning, the weekend edition, your hangover cure, recapping the Night Ranger concert. We have a review of Speak No Evil. We have a new song from Tremonti.
We'll start reviewing Creature Commandos, which just hit on Max.
We'll catch you up with The Vampires on What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes. And next weekend's edition will be our complete and total recap of the entirety
of What We Do.
Season 6, the whole show, everything. And I will also, next weekend, have that for Yellowstone as well.
Yep. May do a book review this week. Oh my word. So, check it out. If you're not into that, we'll be right back here again next Thursday for you with all the sports. For the maestro Kevin Crane, I'm the conquistador Dave Height. Say goodnight to the kids, Kev.
God damn it. Good night to the kids, Kev.
You knew it was coming.